Good morning. My name is Kyle and I've totally forgotten the date. It's the 6th of October. Let's try that again. Good morning, everybody. It's the 6th of October. This is AI with Kyle. I'm going to be running through the daily news and updates from the world of artificial intelligence. And once again, there's a lot happening, a lot of things to catch up on from over the weekend, and another big announcement, well, a pre-announcement, a leak from OpenAI and their new agent tool, which is going to be dropping, we think, today. So I'm going to be talking about that in detail. Also want to talk about how to get a Sora 2 code. I have a couple of videos kicking off on TikTok right now. I think one's at about 500,000 views. Several thousand people in the comments saying, give me a code, I want a code, I need a code. I don't have any more codes. I've totally run out. I've given them to people, but there are a couple of methods to get the codes. I'm going to run through how to do them. There's one, which means you don't even need a code, which is really cool. And then I'm going to show you 3 other places where you can find codes if you are still having difficulty. And then we have some other news about Deloitte getting in trouble for using an AI generated report and I think losing $500,000 because they messed up. And I also want to talk about Mr. Beast and what he's just been saying about AI generated content, because there's a lot to unpack there. So let's actually kick off there with Mr. Beast. Jimmy, I think Jimmy's his real name, doesn't matter, Mr. Beast. If you don't know who Mr. Beast is, well, you're living under a rock. He's probably one of the largest, most successful YouTube creators, or content creators in general on the planet. He's the guy who locks people in, glass cubes and basically makes them do Squid Game style challenges and then gives them a huge amount of money. So whatever you think about him, he is a good content creator. What he does is very, very successful. So he's doing a good job with that. Just realized I'm not on the Wi-Fi. There we go. So what he has to say about content creation is worth listening to. So I think yesterday, he's been watching the rise of AI videos like Sora, and like a lot of people has realized, ooh, these are really good, like really good. This has suddenly become an issue. So prior to Sora coming out last week, I don't think people realize how good AI videos got. People were still thinking of Will Smith eating spaghetti and that Gatorade advert from the Super Bowl, I think it was 2 years ago, where they actively were laughing at AI video. We've come a long way. And back then, the AI people, like myself, we were saying, hey, you're making content for a living, scary times. Yes. So the realization is starting to kick in for content creators and people who make video, and I'm sure for Hollywood as well. The realization is, okay, AI video was a laughing stock. It used to be a joke. It used to not be very good. Now they've realized, it's really good, too good, worryingly good. And suddenly the discourse has changed and the defense has changed. It used to be, we're not going to use AI because it's trash. Now it's going to be, we're not using AI because it destroys the environment, or it's going to destroy livelihoods, or whatever. It's going to become the next level of the argument. It reminds me of the quote which I've forgotten, but the one that Gandhi never actually said. What was it? First they'll laugh at you. Let me pull it up. Gandhi didn't actually say it. It's misattributed. So first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you. So we've gone through the ignore phase when AI video or AI as a whole was not really a big thing. Then we've gone through the then they laugh at you phase when people were like, haha, ChatGPT is rubbish, it can't even answer these basic questions. Video, it cannot generate a high quality video. We're now moving into the third phase, which is then they fight you. This is when the adversaries of AI realize, like, oh, this is actually good and we actually really need to worry about this and we cannot just laugh at this anymore. We need to put up a proper defense. So we're starting to move into that phase with artificial intelligence generated video. And I think Sora was the point at which people have realized, like, ooh, here we go. I wanted to highlight Rowan. So Rowan writes the wonderful Rundown AI newsletter, which is a great AI news source, really, really good newsletter. You should definitely subscribe if you're not already. But he tweeted in response to Mr. Beast saying, I talked to Mark Zuckerberg and Meta's AI team about this. A bit of a name drop there. I talked to Zuckerberg, In my opinion, we have 2 paths forward. All in on AI slop, multiple accounts, mass produce content across different personalities. So that would be setting up a server farm, setting up huge amounts of content generation and just spamming social media, spamming YouTube with as much content as possible in order to game the algorithm, and not really worrying too much about individual accounts, but just going for mass production. That's one way to succeed. Or 2, double down on authentic content, community, streaming, personal stories takes from lived experience. And importantly here, as Rowan says, everything in the middle dies. So you either go all in on artificial intelligence and you do it at a scale where you can beat everyone else because you're producing more, you're putting more out, you've got higher quality, you're spending money on this. This is not using free tools, this is spending thousands and thousands every single month to mass produce content. You either go that way, or you go completely the opposite direction, which is more kind of hand curated, live community based on reality. So I think these are going to be the bifurcation of the market, and I fully agree with Rowan here. And he says something else that's very interesting. Content consumption will probably look like Walmart versus Whole Foods. The majority of people who will go to AI video, that's more personalized and addictive, that's fine. They're still going to be swiping. 80-90% of people are going to be happy to watch AI slop and won't really care. But then there's going to be another market, which is more like a luxury market for people who want human authentic content, who want to see a real person who has real experiences, who, you know, warts and all, who stumbles on camera, who has a lisp like me. They're going to gravitate to those type of content, and we're going to see the market split between the mass production and the kind of higher end luxury market, which will be made by humans. So I think now with the advent or the release of Sora 2, which is starting to get to more and more people, and we're going to get longer and longer videos as we move forward, we are at this splitting point. And this is the point of no return, very much. I'm going to check. I just saw somebody asking for a Sora code in chat. I do not have any left, but I'm going to show you in a moment how to get some. I have thousands of people asking me. And I only got given 4 codes. Actually, no, I got 4, then they gave me another 4, but I've given them all away. So I'm afraid. Surely if we wait a bit, it will open in the UK. Yes, so right now Sora is only available in the US and Canada. With the first Sora, we waited a few months before the release in the EU and the UK, so it's going to take a while. There is a way around that though. I'll show that to you in a moment. And there's a way around, if you're in America or Canada, there's a way that you don't even need an invite code. Quickly scanning the questions, and then I'll jump straight over to that. In fact, I'll talk about how to get a code for Sora. Apo says, I need a Sora code. Can anyone help? Can I have a Sora code, please? A few people asking for Sora codes. Okay, right, let's do it then. Let's jump straight in. I've done a few videos on this already on TikTok and YouTube, so you can go and find them, but I'll quickly run through the methods. Right, first up, if you are not in America or you are not in Canada, then you are going to have to use the browser version. You cannot download the application, the app from the iPhone App Store, unless you change your Apple ID and you register an American Apple ID. If you can do that, fine, go ahead, you'll be able to get access. But if you are outside of the US or outside of Canada, what you're going to need to do is use the browser version. So first you set up a VPN. I use NordVPN, but there's plenty of other ones. There are also free ones that work inside as a Chrome extension. I don't know the names of them, but I'm sure you can find one. You VPN into America, so that makes it look like your computer is in America. Then you head to sora.chatgpt.com/explore. That's going to bring you to a page where you can enter your invite code if you are using a VPN. So importantly, you cannot get the telephone version because it's not in the App Store, but you can still get in through the back door using the browser version if you go to that specific URL. So Sora, sora.chatgpt.com/explore, and that will allow you to enter the invite code there, even if you are outside of the US. So that's the way in, and once you've registered your account, you'll be able to access it, no problem. If you are in the US, great, lucky, there's a workaround which means you do not need to use an invite code at all. So I saw it on Reddit and it still works. And I posted it yesterday and I've had maybe 50 people say, yes, this works really well. What you're going to do is, again, this is only if you are in the US or Canada. You're going to download the application and you're going to go into the application. It's going to say, hey, give me your invite code. You're going to instead back out. So you back out of that screen and click on use a different account. And then you log in using a Gmail account or an Apple account, which is connected to your current ChatGPT account. So that allows you to circumvent the navigation, the invite code by navigating back and then through. So again, you download the app. This is US and Canada only. You download the application, you open it up, and it's going to immediately say, hey, give me your invite code. You're going to click use different account, and then you're going to use the Gmail account or the Apple account or whatever account you have linked to your ChatGPT, and that is going to let you in without an invite code, and that still works as of very recently. So awesome. Now, if you are still looking for an invite code and you're not in the US, so you cannot use the app workaround version, there's a few ways to get one. First up, there is a Discord. So the OpenAI, the official OpenAI Discord, has a channel specifically called Sora 2 Codes. So you need to go in there into the Sora 2 Codes. It's free. You just need Discord. You need to join the OpenAI Discord server. If you Google OpenAI Discord, you'll find it. And then you head into the Sora Codes channel. You have to be really fast. Really fast. So here's one from 11. This is one from 10 minutes ago. K1SZ4K. It looks like 2 people managed to get it working, and then lots of people didn't. So it got used very quickly, probably within seconds. I'm a bit worried about scrolling around. Here's another one, Y1G5G1, that came out a minute ago, and it's all been used up. So you need to very, 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 very quickly use the codes. So that's another way to do it. Or on Reddit, a second method, there is a mega thread, the OpenAI Sora 2 invite codes mega thread. If you Google that, you'll probably find it, or you can go onto the r/OpenAI subreddit and you'll be able to find it as well. Again, you need to be fast, but people are posting their codes in there. Each code can only be used 4 times generally, so you need to be immediately using it. But both of these sources, the Discord and the subreddit, are very fast moving, so there's lots of things being posted in there, so you should be able to find it quite quickly. The third way you can do it, which I don't think it's going to be as successful, is you can use, if you have a premium X account, a Twitter account, you can use X Pro and set up a search alert for Sora invite code. And then every time Sora invite code appears on Twitter, you'll be able to grab one. For that, I would set up a negative search to kind of try to filter out a lot of the spam, because there's a lot of people trying to sell them right now. But that also turns up code. So those are 3 methods to get code. But again, if you're in America, you do not need a code. You can do the workaround that I just described. I've shot another video on that, so if you missed that, go and check on my TikTok, and that will help you get into Sora without needing an invite code, but only if you're in the US or Canada. So hopefully that's useful. I'm sure there'll still be people asking for codes in chat, and that is fine, but I will point you to those other videos. Is this different than the Sora in our current chat? Yes, it is. So I'm talking about Sora 2. Sora 2 came out last Tuesday, about a week ago. So we've had Sora 1 for maybe 6 months, and it's fine, but Sora 2 is way better, much, much better. But to get in, you need an invite code still. They should be releasing it wider, I'm sure, in the next few weeks, but there's also going to be a delay for people in the UK and EU because of the regulations. So there is a delay between the American release of video models and the European and the British releases. So with Sora, we saw the original Sora. I think the delay was like 3 or 4 months. It was quite a long delay. Is Sora 2 going to get better than Kling? I'd argue it's already better than Kling, but you have less power because it's via the chatbot interface. When they open up the API, etc., we'll be able to do a lot more with it, I'm sure. But we are just playing around with the basic version. Stiffer, do you have an extra code, please? No, I just went through I just went through 5 methods to get one, though. So go and watch the recording on YouTube or check my TikTok video, and there's a few methods there. Right, so let's hop over to probably the other big ChatGPT, OpenAI news. They're busy. Last week we had the Sonnet 4.5 announcement. We had Lovable and Bolt releasing new features. They're kind of cloud platforms. Some really cool stuff last week. But Sora 2 overrode everything, and it basically took over the internet, or the AI spaces of the internet. I think OpenAI are about to do the same thing this week. Later today, they are planning to announce an agent builder. So Agent Builder will let users build their agentic workflows, connect MCPs, ChatKit widgets, and other tools. So they're giving us an agent builder, which is amazing news, and they're about to demolish N8N and a lot of other startups. So I feel bad for those guys, because ChatGPT is going to release their own version, and it looks pretty good from the screenshots that I'm looking at. So new ships. So Dev Day is today. OpenAI Dev Day on October the 6th, and the upcoming Agent Builder, which has been previewed ahead, so this is confirmed, positions itself as a direct competitor to established workflow automation tools like N8N and Zapier, targeting developers and teams looking to orchestrate complex agent workflows visually. So I'm wondering if we can do standard automations. I assume we can as well, which means they're coming from Make.com and Zapier. So this is a big shift. And if I worked at one of those companies right now, I would be not very happy. The feature introduces a drag and drop canvas that allows users to create agent flows from predefined templates, such as customer service bots, data enrichment routines, Q&A agents, and document comparison tools. Oh, they're going to demolish a lot of startups today. There's going to be a lot of very, very upset people. The canvas supports a range of modular building blocks, nodes for logic, if-else loops, connectors like MCP, awesome, user approvals, guardrails, file search, and data transformation steps, mirroring the flexibility seen in other agentic workflow platforms. Yeah, this is going to be a big problem for a lot of companies out there. A lot of companies who have built themselves on allowing you to build chatbots, allowing you to build agentic systems, allowing you to build automations. This could even threaten companies like Zapier, big companies like Zapier. In terms of deployment, yeah, it's got a workflow builder, MCP service with Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Outlook, Dropbox, Teams. I mean, yeah, it has an MCP connector, so you can connect it to pretty much anything. OpenAI has been rapidly expanding its platform capabilities, moving from pure model APIs, so being able to access ChatGPT or GPT-5 via the API, to a broader ecosystem approach. Agent Builder is a logical extension, fitting into the company's strategy to empower developers and businesses with self-serve agent creation, while retaining tight integration with OpenAI's infrastructure and security. With the automation market already crowded, OpenAI's bet is that deep integration with its own AI models, ease of use, and possible pre-built logic like guardrails will set it apart from existing and new customers. I would argue they don't even, just by being OpenAI and having a huge deploy base, having a lot of people who are using it already, using the API, that's going to be their killer strategy here. Just because they're already being used, because people are using the API to build their software, to build their products, and now they can just give them this additional tool, which is an agent builder. So we're going to get this later today. I will be playing around with this all week. I'm very excited to see it. So I'll be doing some more information on what agents are, what agentic workflows look like, how it's different to automation. Because remember, we don't always need an agent. Sometimes we can just use an automation. Sometimes it doesn't even need to be AI, but we'll talk about all of that over the week. But I'm looking forward to playing around with this, and it looks pretty good. But yeah, this is a huge problem for a lot of companies out there. Not just the companies that allow you to build agentic workflows, but for companies that allow you to build things like chatbots or customer service representatives. OpenAI looks like they're about to come and eat their lunch. So here's Greg Eisenberg talking about it. The rumor is OpenAI drops an agent builder tomorrow, and wow, if that's true, it's a big deal. For the past 12 months, people have been stitching together tools, yes, like N8N, Zapier, Make, Vapi, and Claude workflows to simulate autonomy. So a lot, that's very true. Over the last couple of years, it's been stitching third-party tools together, getting them to talk to each other, and then getting workflows to go through all of these tools. It's fine. It just adds additional work, and it adds additional places where everything can break, because the more connections you have, the more points of potential breakage you have too. It worked, but it was duct tape, as Greg says. Now imagine that entire stack native to OpenAI with one-click access to MCP, ChatGPT widgets, and every model they've trained. No API chaos, no patchwork, one smooth canvas. Yeah, it's very appealing. This is what happens when I move from tool to infrastructure. Before, you needed 10 tabs, 5 plugins, and a weekend to build an agent. After, you'll drag a few blocks, add logic, and hit publish and deploy a production-ready workflow. What App Store did for software, Agent Builder could do for intelligence. Yeah, we could potentially sell workflows. That would be really cool. It's the beginning of the no-code AI economy, where building an autonomous agent is as simple as building a Notion template. Developers get leverage. Non-technical founders get superpowers, and businesses get workflows that run 24/7 without ops teams. I'm already thinking of several things I can immediately implement with this, which I've done previously using Zapier, using Make.com, using N8N, using the APIs like Patchwork. I'm just going to bring these over onto this one platform because it's be a lot easier and probably cheaper too. So the downstream effects, Zapier and N8N lose their monopoly on automation. Yep, and Make.com, I would say there. Claude and Perplexity become upstream research assistants for agent networks. Okay, so you'd use them at the beginning of your workflow, get information from Claude and Perplexity, for example, and then pipe it into an OpenAI based workflow via this agent system. Indie agents replace indie apps. Yeah, this is going to be the big one. There are a lot of small businesses out there or startups who are building tools, which has now become kind of irrelevant because we're going to be able to spin up our own version much quicker. We'll be able to recreate workflows very fast. And data becomes the new code. Tomorrow's dev day should be interested. Yeah, I'm excited about this. Very cool. And I'm sorry for anyone out there who's building something that's been threatened by this. Can I get a Sora 2 code? Sorry, I'm only laughing because everyone keeps asking. I've given all mine away. If you go previously in the video, I went through about 4 or 5 different methods how to get a Sora code, or if you're in the US or Canada, you do not need a code. There's a way to work around. Also check my main TikTok feed, and there's a couple of videos there telling you how to do it. Because I won't cover it again. Right, next up, Deloitte. Just got in trouble. So if you've been following the news, you probably know that a lot of the consulting companies, a lot of the advisory companies are moving into AI, and they're billing a lot of AI work. It's a weird one because AI is a threat to these companies, a huge existential threat. Because why pay for consultancy and advice when you can now get it using Claude, using ChatGPT? I mean, arguably the advice that Deloitte, etc., are giving you is better, but at the same time, Deloitte, McKinsey, etc., they are also using AI to now prepare their work. So I think their worth, the existence of the industry of consultants, the existence of the industry of advisory work is threatened, very much threatened. So a lot of them are pivoting into doing AI work for businesses. So they're becoming AI consultants and AI advisory, which in a weird way is, yes, they're going to make money in the short term by using these tools and promoting these tools within industries. Sure, they're going to be able to bill. And I think, was it Deloitte or KPMG? We're looking at someone last week. I mix them all up, but already AI works about 20% of their revenue. So it's a huge chunk of their work. But at the same time, they are working themselves out of a job, because they're showing large enterprises, showing companies how to use AI. One day, a year or so down the line, a couple of years, these companies are going to be like, wait, we're using AI for all this stuff. We can get consultancy and advice from AI. Why are we paying you hundreds of thousands or millions to do our advisory work? So I think ultimately these companies are done for. But in the meantime, they're trying to pivot into using AI and helping other businesses to use AI, just to kind of keep the boat afloat. That just exploded in Australia. So Deloitte have to pay money back to the Albanese government, the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Australia, after using AI in a $440,000 report. A partial refund is to be issued after several errors were found in the report. A report into the department's compliance frameworks. Oh, it's a compliance report too. Ooh. Deloitte will provide a partial refund to the federal government over a $440,000 report that contains several errors after admitting it used generative artificial intelligence to help produce it. It's not a good look. The Department of Employment and Workfare Relations, or DURA, confirmed Deloitte would repay the final instalment under its contract, which will be made public after the transaction is finalised. It comes as one Labour senator accused a consultancy firm of having a human intelligence problem. That's a very polite way to call them thick. Deloitte was commissioned by the department to review the targeted compliance framework and its IT systems used to automate penalties in the welfare system if mutual obligations weren't met by job seekers in December 2024. The subsequent report found widespread issues, including a lack of traceability between the rules and the framework, blah, blah, blah. University of Sydney academic Dr. Christopher Rudge, who first highlighted the errors, said the report contained hallucinations, where AI models may fill in gaps, misinterpret data, or try to guess answers. Instead of just substituting one hallucinated fake reference for a new real reference, they substituted the fake hallucinated references in the new version. There's like 5, 6, or 7, or 8 in their place. Yikes. So it looks like they got caught using AI and using AI poorly. Deloitte have gone into damage control, it looks like, and they're saying the substance of the independent review is retained and there are no changes to the recommendations. So they're saying, yeah, we put some junk AI references in there, but overall it's fine. But it looks like they've agreed to pay back some money to the government. Deloitte did not state that artificial intelligence was the reason behind the errors in its original report, and it stood by the original findings of the review. And the matter has been resolved directly with the client. Yeah, so we're going to see a lot more of this. Just because AI spits something out does not mean it's true, and Deloitte should know better, especially when you are charging nearly $500,000. You need to go ahead and check the authenticity. You need to make sure there are workflows in place which mean that these hallucinations can't be put in the first place. So you'd use a RAG system, for example, and you have guardrails. There are ways around this, and then at the end of the process you need to check it all with humans, and presumably when you're getting paid $500,000 you should be putting some human eyeballs on that. And if those human eyeballs are not spotting the errors, then we do have a human intelligence problem. So I think all of these stories, and we keep seeing them about the advisory and the consultancy firms, they are highlighting that the work that these companies have been doing for all these years, well, one, the vast majority of it can probably be done by AI. So that underlines that the work that they do is not necessarily very valuable. And two, they are starting to use AI themselves because they've kind of realized, hey, we can cut costs and still deliver the same work. But they're not using AI very intelligently, as in this case. So they're going to have to pay back a partial refund. And worse than that, they look like idiots, basically. And this is, unfortunately, the Australian Deloitte using it makes the whole of Deloitte globally look like idiots. So it's a bad look. And I'm sure after this, there will be a pushback. Obviously across Deloitte, but probably across all of the consultancy firms, and putting into place proper systems to make sure this doesn't happen, because this is extremely embarrassing, especially when it's for a compliance framework. Bad. Danielle says, thanks for doing this live, Kyle. I'm an ops mastermind and currently building infra. Very cool. Have a look at, I'm not sure if you were on the call earlier, but OpenAI, make sure you tune into their dev day today, because they're releasing a new agent system. So a way to build agents. So make sure that's going to be extremely important. Okay, what else do we have? those were the main news items, honestly. Yeah, that's about it. So the main news really is this new agent tool. It's going to be coming out today. It's not out yet, so I can't cover it, but tomorrow I should have had time to have a play around with it. I hope I'll have access in the UK. If not, I'll be able to VPN to it, I'm sure. And we also talked about, well, Sora 2, how to get a Sora 2 code. If you missed that and you still need a Sora 2 code, you can watch the replay of this video on YouTube. It will be available shortly after this. Or there are some short videos on TikTok going through the processes and how you can get a code. Awesome. I'm going to be switching over to my other live where I'm building in public. I'm on day 26 out of 30 building and launching a new AI tool. We're starting to run out of time, so we need to move fast now because I overcomplicated it and added too many features, but that is fine. So join me on that stream shortly. And otherwise, if you want to keep up to date with AI news, I'm here every single morning around 10 a.m. A bit late today because I've still got this horrible cold. And you can find all of the recordings over on YouTube. There is also a newsletter which comes out every single morning, which is a written summary of what's been covered on the previous live. So make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. The link is in my bio. It's totally free, and you're subscribed on YouTube, which is where a lot of the other content goes. Oh, whilst I'm here, I also have started to generate like longer form guides, which are living on the YouTube as well. And the first one is about how you can make money from AI without necessarily being a coder, specifically by becoming a person who translates for your industry. You become the person who sits between your industry, whatever that is, if you're an educator, if you're a social worker, doesn't really matter, and the world of AI, and you're going to sit between them and translate. So I've put together a guide, a very actionable, practical guide, and an AI tool which can help you get started on that pathway as well. So go and check that out over on YouTube, and that's going to be the best place to find that. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning with more news, hopefully, having tested the OpenAI agent tool. I'm not sure what they're calling it. Agent something. Agent Builder. That's a good name. I should have played around with it by then, and I'll be able to report back. Thank you so much, and have a lovely rest of the day.